Okay, this is my first video on this channel. I have another channel if anybody recognizes me from that one. That channel is based on a totally different concept and subject. This channel is going to be for the purpose of discussing surviving. Life is hard. A lot of people have been through a lot of difficult things. I've been through a lot of difficult things. I'm going to share my story in bits and pieces, which I've never done before, and talk about mental health issues, which I'm no expert on. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to give people mental advice in the aspect of, I'm not going to tell you to take meds. Don't take my advice if I speak about meds. That's just, right off the bat. But I'd like to give people some hope. I'd like to give people some perspective. And I'd like to hopefully inspire you to keep trying, because I know that I've been through a lot and I never stopped trying. Even though, I can't say I'm succeeding at this point, but I've made it, and I've climbed out of a hole. I have climbed out of a hole multiple times. I've lost everything multiple times, and yet you just can never quit. And that's going to be hopefully the message I'm going to repeatedly convey on my videos. I may not post on a regular. It's not going to be every Wednesday, at this time. I have 3 children and 2 children that I call my stepchildren. I'm not married to the man I'm with, because I'm in the process of a divorce. But I've been, with them with my man and his children for 3 years. I treat them like mine. So I'm keeping up with anywhere from 3 to 5 kids at a time, plus the neighbors' kids. I might have 7, 8, 9 kids in my house. So things are crazy, and I'm not going to promise to be consistently always the same day, always at the same time. But I will keep regular videos posted, and I will give you updates, and I will be very personal on this channel. I don't know how much I'm going to get a following here, but I would like to, and I would like to, I'm open to anything that, should I get some followers, that if you would like to hear something, I'd like to say that you would, that you would like to hear about. I'm not a great speaker all the time, but I do have, good things, important things to say. I don't enjoy being on camera. I'm doing this for the personal aspect of it being more like a conversation. It's not that I have a image issue, like I don't like how I look on camera. If it was, then I probably would have put on makeup and did my hair today, but clearly didn't get done up for this. That's not the problem. I just don't enjoy being on camera, but I'm going to do it because I feel like it looks like I'm talking to you in this video. It looks like we can talk this way. And should I ever get enough subscribers that I could do a live, I will, So then I really could talk to people, more like a conversation. I never got to that point with my other channel because the subject matter and that I chose to talk about didn't get me there, which I'm not about subs. I've never been about subs. The way I see it, I'm never going to monetize this. I never monetized my last one. It's about the people, and if you enjoy what I say, or if you need to hear what I'm saying, then that was the point. The people are the point. If you live your life in search of money, you will always be found empty. I never lived like that. That's probably why I don't have any money. But, my heart's full, even if my pockets are empty. And I believe that's a good way to live. So, I guess I can give a little bit of background here, just for the first video. I am 29 and a half. I told you I have 3 kids. I'm from Tip City area, sort of. I generally tell people I'm from Dayton area. I ran around close to Dayton in Ohio. And, I'm a preacher's daughter, which that comes with a stigma, which generally they go one way or the other. And I guess I kind of went both. I started out young. I was homeschooled until 13, very sheltered. My dad was Pentecostal, which now I don't know if he's still probably holds on to the Pentecostal beliefs. Now he actually pastors a church. And when I was younger, he was never a pastor. But, that was where you don't cut your hair. You wear the long skirts. If you've ever seen those kind of girls where they have the really long hair and they got to keep it up in a bun or it'd be dragging the ground or they'd have to pick it up when they go to the bathroom. Like, that's how I grew up. And, homeschooled, I didn't have a lot of contact with other kids. And I just felt like I was missing out on something. So as soon as I was able to find a friend, I actually found a friend when I was 12. It was 11 or 12. I can't remember exactly. It was close to there. I started staying I would stay over at my grandma and grandpa's house. And I found my first best friend was she was mixed. She was a really great girl. I believe so. We really don't stay in contact much now, but she was the first girl that ever gave me the opportunity to try anything I wanted to try, because I was just itching to see what I was missing out on in the world, which she wasn't a bad influence. It's just she had lived a completely different life than me. She was also homeschooled, but basically I was homeschooled and I refused to do school after 3rd grade. I fought my mom tooth and nail. I mean, to the point where she honestly gave up, and it wasn't because she was weak. It's because I have 2 younger autistic brothers. And she was just going through it, and I took advantage of that, which is terrible to say, but it's true, because I was a very stubborn young woman, And so if I'd go stay at my grandma's house for a while, overnight or something, I would go hang out with I met this girl, and I'm not going to give names a lot, obviously. But she was homeschooled, but she didn't do school either. So we could just run around all day. We just had to make sure we didn't get picked. If we got picked up, say, hey, why are you girls not at school? Oh, we're homeschooled. We already did our work for the day. We can get away with whatever, And I don't know, that's how I met her. And I wasn't allowed to stay overnight at her house, just because of my parents are like, oh, we don't know, whatever. But she was mixed, and her mom said she was Muslim, which she told me it was because of the religious beliefs in the Muslims that you have to be married before you can really see them. And then she could marry them, and then they were stuck with her. And I don't know if that's true. I'm going to just adjust this because of my arm. Long story short, that's where I tried my first cigarette, and I got into a little bit of trouble, not much, but that's where I kind of got into some drugs, just pot. And the older brothers were selling it, and I became a delivery girl. And because who's going to expect this church girl walking around town to be delivering bags, of course. So, but nobody ever knew what I did. And that's just a little bit of what I did. But as I got older, I found every opportunity to sneak out. it got to where when my parents went to bed, they had one of those old desktop computers. Because, yeah, I'm born in 90s. So, I mean, computers weren't really in homes until the mid-90s, late 90s. And so finally, they had the computer and the house phone, on the jack that you had to plug in. And if you remember, if you're anywhere, unless you're really young, you know what I'm talking about. So they would take the phone upstairs. It would had like this lock with a key that was one of those it had a long loop like this, and then the lock, but it was just enough for me to get my arm in there. And I found a way, excuse me, I'm itchy, found a way to get my arm in the computer. And I could restart it. And if I restarted it, it wouldn't ask for my mom's password to get in. And I could get it to open browser and copy and paste letters from whatever her, main open homepage was to get to this, I think it was Yahoo, I forget. But you could email a cell phone from your computer and tell my friends to come pick me up because I lived out in the country. And then I'd climb out the window because all the doors were locked and get out. By the time I was like, 15, 14, 15. But by then I was in school. I started school at 13. So I'm jumping around a little. Starting 7th grade was hard. It wasn't hard. It was just, even though I'd made a friend, I had some idea what other kids were like. I had no concept of what school was going to be like. I mean, I just had TV shows as a reference. I didn't know. And so when luckily I went to a small country school. If I would have been in some city school, I don't know how I would have adjusted, but I show up at this small school. I mean, my graduating class, had I have stayed and graduated, would have been like 65, roughly. I mean, it was small. And I got there, 7th grade, middle school. I mean, I still had the skirts. I mean, I was able to wear jeans at this point, but I sometimes still wore the skirts. Like, I was still kind of in between. I hadn't, and my hair was down to my belly button. And I didn't really have makeup. I didn't know how to use it that much. I never used it. Didn't have my ears pierced. But all that aside, I get there and they're all in groups. And I remember going to the lunchroom and everybody's sitting in groups and I'm trying to figure out what defines these different groups of these tables. Like, where am I supposed to sit and why are these people, what groups them together? Like, are they all, they're clearly not just all friends. They look alike, and what defines them. So the first group of friends in school that picks me up is the popular girls. They're the cheerleaders. They are all wearing Abercrombie and Fitch and all that stuff, and they barely eat anything for lunch. So they let me sit there. They oh, hey, you're the new girl. We're going to pick you up, whatever. And I mean, I clearly look homely. I look like some kind of country reject. And I'm pretty sure everybody knew I was homeschooled when I got there. So, I mean, my mom enrolled me in school and they needed to see, school records. We don't have school records. This was before, Bush was in office. It was right around No Child Left Behind. So, we didn't have the homeschool they had me in didn't keep record of me. I was basically off the grid. They showed up with all these boxes of workbooks I had done. I mean, boxes and boxes of workbooks. So the principal is pretty much just so she's in 7th grade? Will that work? Anyway, I remember this. So I'm sitting with these girls and they're all talking. You didn't get your Abercrombie and Fitch from the store. You got that at Walmart and this and that and the other. And I'm like, girl, I'm wearing shit from the thrift store. What are you talking about? I'm like, this is dumb. They're humiliating this girl because her top didn't cost $40 and my everything I have on might have been $15. Like, I'm done with you guys. I literally ditched them. I ended up talking to these girls that were on my bus who were like the bad girls. You know, they smoked pot, they drank, they didn't live in a trailer park, but for some reason, because a lot of, in this, the school, it was a country school, a lot of them, in order to live in that area, you had to pretty much own a house. There wasn't a lot of places to rent. There was a trailer park, but it was small. There was a couple houses that rented, but mostly you had to have money enough to rent, to own a house. It was, rural area. So a lot of them had money and they were judgy and stuck up. So they called these girls that they lived in the trailer park, which they didn't actually live in the real trailer park. And the girls that did live in the real trailer park didn't get made fun of. So it makes no sense. Moving on, they called them trash. But they weren't. They were just, they were just bad. But honestly, I fit in a little bit more with them than these stuck-up cheerleaders. So I started talking to these girls from the bus, and I went and sat at their table. The girl's like, "Are you going to sit with us?" I'm like, "No, I'm going to go sit up here with these girls." So they're just like, "Oh, she ditched us. Oh, she ditched us." And I went and ditched them for like the trailer trash girls over here, and they didn't know what to think. Like, those girls are going to get you in trouble. I'm like, I think I'll be all right. I'd rather eat my lunch. Because they were like, well, eat up out here. I'll get a bagel and split it with you. Like, bitch, I'm hungry. I'm not going to sit over there with you and talk about who's wearing what top and what we're doing with cheerleading that I'm not in. I'm not sitting there. Like, no. And they just couldn't believe I decided not to sit with the popular girls. I had no clue. Why would I want to be popular when looks like being popular sucks? I don't want that. My last video cut me off. I'm going to end up ending this middle school experience short here anyways. But yeah, so yeah, I didn't have any concept of what was going on in school because I was sheltered and all I had experienced is, doing some bad stuff. And I don't know, they would say words like click and drama. And I didn't know what they meant. I'm like, what's click? What's drama? What does that mean? What are you talking about? And they were just like, you never heard of that? I'm like, girl, I don't know what you're talking about. So anyway, this is just going to be the first one, okay? And this is just going to be the first one. We're going to get into some more serious stuff later on. But this is just a little taste of who I am, where I came from, how I started. And I hope you enjoyed this. This is a little bit funny. Some of these aren't going to be funny. Some of these are going to be a little sad and a little more serious. And we're going to talk about different topics. And it's not all going to be about me. So hopefully you enjoy what you hear and what you see. And welcome to my channel.